Are you ready to master the disaster? Well, by the end of this video, you'll have all the tools you need to master this skill. Welcome back to Joy of Bike. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chase. And the disaster was one of the first skills that I learned on a ramp at the skate park. It's a lot of fun and it's pretty straightforward with this approach.
But before we get started, we'd really appreciate if you cruise down and hit the like button. If you think this video helped you learn how to disaster by the end of it, well, we'd really appreciate if you considered subscribing to the channel. It helps other people just like you see this video and learn the trick right alongside of you. And it also lets us know that you're enjoying the content that we're having so much fun making and working hard to create.
There are 3 skills that are good to be familiar with before trying the disaster. That is knowing how to fly out of a quarter pipe or jump, knowing how to interact with a quarter pipe or air out, and knowing how to 180. We've covered all of these skills at length already on the channel, and we've included links to those videos in the video description down below. So if you need a refresher on any of those skills, click one of those and we'll see you over there. The first step in learning the disaster is finding the right quarter pipe, and we suggest looking for one that is about 3 to 4 feet tall. Once we've found the quarter pipe that we want to learn the disaster on, we need to figure out the speed necessary to get up on top of the ramp. And we're going to do that using a flyout, or riding up to the ramp and jumping up onto the deck. Remember to pump up the face of the ramp in order to jump it. This will help get the most energy out of the face of the quarter pipe as possible. It'll also help us when we start incorporating a spin. Once we've figured out the correct speed for the quarter pipe that we've selected, the next step is to start trying fly out 180s. Ride in with a little bit of confidence and enough speed to properly get up onto the deck, and really focus on spinning that complete 180-degree rotation to land perpendicular to the coping. If the quarter pipe you're practicing on doesn't have enough deck space for a fly out 180, don't worry about it. You can start trying fly out 90s just to get an idea of what it feels like to spin off of the quarter pipe. Or you can practice flat ground 180s, or find a bank or wedge at your skate park to practice fly out 180s to get comfortable with that movement before moving on to part 2.
Now that we're fully comfortable with the 180 portion of this trick, it's time to move on to begin committing to the disaster. Now the really cool part about this is that it is very similar to a flyout 180, except for we're just not going to land on the deck with both tires at the same time. To make this trick as easy as possible, we're going to want to ride at the face of the quarter pipe at a slight angle. Riding directly up the face is going to make this trick far more difficult. As we ride up the face of the ramp and begin to reach the coping with our front tire and start to pop, we're going to want to pull our bars back to us slightly as we begin to initiate our spin. This is going to help us stay over the coping as opposed to flying out onto the deck. At the beginning of this tutorial, we talked about a few skills that are helpful when it comes to the disaster: the air out and the fly out. And the reason for that is because the disaster lands somewhere in between the feeling of those 2 skills. Another way to think of the disaster, or maybe make a little bit more sense of it, is to think that you're casing the deck on a quarter pipe air. We're just doing it intentionally. To stay in control of your body and your bike through the entirety of this trick, we want to stay in a central riding position, meaning our weight is over the center of the bottom bracket. As we rotate and begin to land, we want to land with our sprocket or bottom bracket slightly behind the coping. We want to keep our pedals parallel through the entire motion, and as we land, we want to absorb the impact with our arms and legs. For best results, we want to aim to have our front and back tires make contact with the ramp at the same time. If you get this weight distribution correct, you'll essentially feel your bike lock into place for a brief moment. If your back tire lands too far back from the coping, you'll most likely roll up onto the deck and continue to fakie. If your back tire lands too close to the coping, you'll probably roll back in and get a little bit wobbly and be out of control. To re-enter after the disaster on smaller quarter pipes like the one we're learning on, all we have to do is gently shift our weight forward to start some forward momentum. As we begin to roll into the ramp and our back tire crests the coping, we're going to shift back into that central riding position to ride down the face smoothly. As we re-enter the quarter pipe, the key is to stay relaxed and look ahead at where we want to ride off to. As you become comfortable with the disaster and rolling back in from the stall, now it's time to start looking at hopping back in from the trick. Not only is this going to add a little bit of extra style points, but it's also going to help you as you venture into larger quarter pipes. To execute on this, what we're going to want to do is basically a bunny hop while shifting our weight slightly forward to create some forward momentum. As we begin to go back into the face of the ramp, we're going to want to shift our weight back into a central riding position. Hopping in is going to help us from getting hung up on the bigger quarter pipes that are steeper or have gnarlier coping. Next up, we've got vision. Not only is it important when it comes to spinning, but also riding out of the disaster. As we're spinning, we want to guide the spin with our head and shoulders until we lock into the stall. As we hop out, we want to look ahead at where we want to ride off to. And lastly, we want to work on dialing in our pop. To do this, we want to pull our bars harder back into our lap, which will allow us to direct our momentum up as opposed to out. This is going to help us maintain more control as we work towards bigger quarter pipes and ultimately as we start integrating tricks into our disaster stalls. Real quick, without Traction Coffee, these videos would not be possible. When we're not actively filming or planning these videos, we're overworking at our roasting location. The cool thing about Traction is all of our coffee is roasted by riders for riders. And for a limited time, you can save 30% on your first order by shopping the link in the episode description down below or scanning the QR code right here on your screen. And the best part, when you support Traction, not only do you get to enjoy world-class coffee, but it directly helps us provide you with the best content possible. If you need a coffee recommendation, let us know down in the comments below and keep an eye out for a shirt drop coming really soon.
In your world, fun is the currency of effort. Enjoy pure, all-natural fuel to keep you moving forward, no matter the task. For the doers, the fun havers, the all-around go-getters, fuel your fun with Traction Coffee.
Regardless of how you support us, whether it's a like, a comment, a subscribe, or perhaps picking up a bag of coffee, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
As the quarter pipe that you initially identified starts to become a little bit more comfortable, start looking around for some other quarter pipes in your skate park or other skate parks near you. Don't just learn this skill on one type of ramp. Play around and expand your horizons. That's the best part about riding bikes, is it's a constant learning process. Start small and work your way up to bigger quarter pipes. And honestly, what you might find is that the bigger, steeper quarter pipes might be even easier than those smaller quarter pipes. I found that the 5-foot height is the sweet spot for me because it gives me the right amount of pop to lock into that disaster. So give yourself a little bit of grace and play around. And remember that the more you practice, the easier it's going to get. And as you're practicing, it can really help to ride with somebody who is better than you at this skill. Luckily, Mike is awesome at disasters while I'm still trying to figure them out and get them dialed in. In fact, I can use a little bit of practice myself, which means it's time for the joyride. Now that you're on your way to become the master of the disaster, it's your turn to get out for your own joyride.
And while you're at it, drop a comment down below with the name of your local skate park and let us know if you've started working on the disaster yet, or what the next skill you're hoping to learn is, or if you'd like to see us cover any other BMX skills in a similar fashion to this one, let us know down below. And again, if you like this video, don't forget to cruise down and hit that like button. If it helped you, please share it with a friend who it might help as well. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. As always, thank you guys so much for riding with us. It was an absolute blast. We'll catch you on the next joyride. Later.
Oof. And before we get out of here, we have a bunch of other awesome BMX tutorials already on the channel, like how to air out and how to bunny hop. So click on whichever one you want to see and we'll see you over there. Till next time, thank you guys for riding with us. We'll see you on the next joyride.